Throughout the past decade, the relationship between Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un has been shrouded in secrecy, with the politics of both nations hidden behind closed doors. Yet, by piecing together fragments of evidence, we uncover a fragile and tense bond masked by a facade of so-called friendship. Here, we have to answer many questions. How do they truly view each other? How did a failed coup in Beijing spark a massive purge in Pyongyang? Who was the Chinese insider who leaked critical information to Kim Jong-un? And what role did China play in the assassination of Kim Jong-nam, Kim's half-brother? Most importantly, is Xi Jinping a blessing or a ticking time bomb for the Kim regime? This is a story of betrayal, power struggle, and political intrigue. Let's begin. In March 2018, the former US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang, the most famous rocket man in the world. Pompeo told Kim that the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, which is considered North Korea's ally, was repeatedly telling the US that Kim wanted US forces to withdraw from South Korea. After hearing this, Kim laughed and pounded on the table in sheer joy, exclaiming that the Chinese were liars. Kim said that he needed the Americans in South Korea to protect him from the CCP, and that the CCP needs the Americans out, so they can treat the Korean peninsula like Tibet and Xinjiang. This is an interesting story from Pompeo's book, Never Give an Inch. You might wonder, what made Kim say such words about China? Especially in Westerners' eyes, it seems that China has always been North Korea's best friend. Well, to answer this question, we have to go back to 2011. The winter of 2011 in Pyongyang was bitterly cold, but it wasn't just the weather. The political climate was equally frigid. When Kim Jong-il passed away that December, a tearful Kim Jong-un knew the immense dangers that lay ahead. As Kim Jong-un escorted his father's coffin, his uncle, Chang Son-taek, stood solemnly by his side. Chang Son-taek, who had married Kim Jong-il's only sister, was not just a member of the family. He had been one of Kim Jong-il's most powerful and capable aides. Between 1997 and 2000, he played a key role in Kim Jong-il's brutal purge, which led to the persecution of over 20,000 people and thousands of deaths. Despite his bloody history, Chang Son-taek was widely known as a reformist, advocating for North Korea to adopt Deng Xiaoping-style economic reforms. His close ties with China earned him the reputation of being a pro-China figure. When Kim Jong-un was chosen as a successor, Chang Son-taek was handpicked by Kim Jong-il to guide the young leader. Some media even called him the regent. Chang also wielded immense power as the head of the Supreme Guard Command, the elite force responsible for Kim Jong-un's security. Yet, Kim Jong-un couldn't shake the feeling that his uncle posed a threat. While he had no solid evidence to prove his suspicions, rumors swirled that Chang maintained secret contact with Kim Jong-nam, Kim Jong-un's half-brother who lived in China. These whispers of betrayal kept Kim awake at night. Among North Korea's elite, Chang's ambitions were an open secret. His vision to reshape North Korea into a China-like state was less about improving the lives of the people and more about solidifying his own power. He aspired to be a Deng Xiaoping in North Korea, a true regent with absolute authority. However, this powerful figure met a shocking and unexpected downfall on December 8, 2013. During a high-level meeting, Chang was suddenly arrested on the spot. Armed guards read out the charges against him before dragging him away, as stunned officials trembled in fear. Kim Jong-un watched the spectacle with a smile, knowing he had sent a chilling message to anyone who dared challenge him. Just 4 days later, Chang Son-taek was brutally executed for treason. Some reports suggest that he was executed by anti-aircraft guns, while others claim he was mauled by dogs. With his uncle gone, Kim Jong-un turned his full attention to eliminating another threat, his half-brother, Kim Jong-nam. Compared to Chang Son-taek, Kim Jong-nam posed a more serious and enduring danger to Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-nam lost his chance to succeed as North Korea's leader in 2001 after being caught using a fake passport to visit Tokyo Disneyland with his family. He openly believed that North Korea should follow China's path of economic reform and openness to the West, and he opposed the Kim's family's three-generation succession. These views made him a pariah in Pyongyang, forcing him to live in China for nearly 2 decades under Beijing's protection. During his exile, Kim survived multiple assassination attempts. One of the most notable incidents occurred in 2012 when he narrowly escaped an attack in Beijing. Outraged, Chinese authorities arrested several North Korean agents involved. Yet, much like Trotsky couldn't escape Stalin's reach, Kim Jong-nam knew his fate was inevitable. In February 2017, his life came to a tragic end at Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. Reports suggest he was initially guarded by 3 bodyguards, 2 Chinese and 1 Korean. Strangely, just before the attack, the 2 Chinese bodyguards suddenly left him and returned to China, adding another layer of mystery to the story. Eliminating them may have given Kim Jong-un temporary peace of mind, but the shadow of Kim Jong-nam and Chang Son-tek's protector, China, was a far greater and more persistent threat. How did Kim Jong-un learn about Chang Son-tek's alleged betrayal? And how did he track Kim Jong-nam's whereabouts? Who leaked this sensitive information? To understand this, we need to talk about a secret conversation, a top Chinese official, and a coup attempt in Beijing. According to Japanese media NHK, during Chang Son-tek's visit to Beijing on August 17, 2012, he had a secret meeting with then Chinese President Hu Jintao. Chang expressed his support for Kim Jong-nam as North Korea's next leader, who neither agreed nor objected, hoping the conversation would remain private, but that wasn't the case. The meeting had been eavesdropped on. You might wonder who would have the audacity to tap into the discussions of China's top leader. Well, the answer is Zhou Yongkang. As the head of China's powerful Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission, Zhou controlled over 2 million police and armed police, public security, and some intelligence agencies. He was essentially China's KGB chief. Most importantly, Zhou had strong ties to North Korea. During his 2010 visit to Pyongyang, he met with Kim Jong-il 4 times in 3 days. In 2012, Zhou allied with Bo Xilai, a rival of Xi Jinping. After Bo was arrested in March 2012, Zhou's influence began to crumble. Desperate, Zhou reportedly planned an attempted coup on March 19, 2012. Thousands of armed police special forces surrounded Xinhua Gate, the heart of the CCP leadership. Gunshots were heard, roads were blocked, and Beijing's internet was cut off. Hu Jintao responded swiftly, deploying the 30th Army to counter the coup. Their armed vehicles once again shook Tiananmen Square, echoing the massacre of 1989. The coup eventually failed, and Zhou was placed under house arrest. His downfall was inevitable, and in 2015, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Yet, Zhou's men, especially within China's Ministry of State Security, continued to wield power. Zhou used these operatives to leak information about the conversation with Kim Jong-un in 2013. Even though Hu Jintao had not fully committed to such a plan, the leak was enough to spark Kim Jong-un's paranoia. Chang Son-tek's fate was sealed. Why did Zhou do this? Of course, not out of love for the Kim family, but only to sabotage Hu Jintao and Xi Jinping. The leak led to a massive purge of pro-China factions in Pyongyang, immensely weakening China's influence over North Korea. But Zhou's revenge didn't end there. Since Kim Jong-nam was seen as Xi Jinping's leverage, Zhou needed him eliminated. Zhou's men likely leaked Kim Jong-nam's location to Pyongyang. In February 2017, he was ultimately assassinated. The fallout was severe. Xi Jinping was furious, and the relationship between the two countries hit rock bottom. When Zhou Yongkang learned about this from prison, the success of his vendetta likely brought a satisfied smile to his face. However, after calming down, Xi Jinping knew he still needed Kim Jong-un. So, China continued to repatriate thousands of defectors to North Korea each year and provided significant amounts of aid. However, this wasn't sufficient to stabilize North Korea's economic situation, especially as it faced escalating international sanctions. To help Pyongyang, publicly, China supported the sanctions against North Korea at the UN. Privately, it helped Pyongyang circumvent them. Chinese shell companies have played a key role in enabling North Korea to export coal and import refined oil despite restrictions. In 2019, the US sanctioned 2 Chinese companies for doing this. In July 2024, a network involving 6 Chinese individuals and 5 entities was sanctioned by the US for assisting North Korea in procuring materials for its ballistic missile programs. So, has China earned North Koreans' trust with all this support? The answer is no. Essentially, it is simply a fragile and deceitful alliance between 2 dictatorships. Beijing knows that while Kim Jong-un's nuclear missiles might struggle to reach the US, they could easily target Beijing if Kim changes his mind overnight. On the other hand, Kim Jong-un constantly worries that China might attempt to overthrow him. This mutual distrust runs deep in their relationship. So why does China continue to support North Korea, even as Pyongyang disrespects Beijing and conducts nuclear tests that endanger millions of Chinese citizens near the border? Well, for many reasons. For Xi Jinping, the potential threat to millions of Chinese from nuclear radiation is a small price to pay for North Korea's value in causing trouble to the Americans. More importantly, North Korea's existence supports one of the CCP's key propaganda narratives, the victory in the Korean War, which is crucial to its legitimacy. Losing North Korea could weaken this narrative and lead people in China to question the party's authority. Worse, if the Pyongyang regime collapsed and the peninsula unified under a democratic South Korea, China would face a powerful democracy right on its border, potentially inspiring its own citizens. The CCP doesn't have many genuine allies. Democracies are seen as adversaries, while only dictatorships offer the party a sense of security, even if they can be untrustworthy at times. Compared to Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, who at least showed cautious respect for China, Kim Jong-un openly distrusts and even belittles Xi Jinping's regime. He knows that China relies on North Korea more than North Korea relies on China. If North Korea loses China, it could endure famine and the death of 1 million, which is not a big deal for Kim. But if China loses North Korea, the CCP's legitimacy could take a hit that Xi Jinping cannot afford. His calculation isn't wrong. So, is Xi Jinping's rule a blessing or curse for Kim Jong-un? In the short term, it is a blessing. After Xi Jinping abolished term limits in 2018, effectively becoming a modern-day Mao Zedong, Kim realized he no longer had to endure lectures from Chinese leaders as his father did. No one was pushing him to learn from China's reform and opening up experience anymore. Instead, his regime became a model for China, managing 26 million people like a prison with remarkable stability, something Xi Jinping envies. On June 20, 2019, Xi visited Pyongyang. Kim's grand welcome ceremony left Xi in awe. Xi deeply appreciated Kim's status as a godlike dictator. Unsurprisingly, China ramped up its court of Xi, and 3 months later, Xi relished a similar spectacle in Tiananmen Square. Later, a reportedly internal speech by Xi circulated. He said, "North Korea has a weak economy, but the people worship the party. They can rule for another 100 years. This is something we should learn from." While it's unclear if Xi said this, China's current path does seem to be emulating North Korea. This is why many Chinese people jokingly refer to China as West Korea. However, in the long term, Xi's rule is a curse for Kim. Under Xi, the once powerful Chinese economy is collapsing at an alarming rate, which means China could be on the verge of change at any moment. If anything happens in Beijing, with a free and democratic new China next door, Kim's brutal regime won't last long. So, what's your take on the relationship between them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Please also follow me on Instagram or TikTok for fun, unique content, different from my YouTube videos, posted 3 times a week. Next time, we will dive into one of the most infamous events in modern Chinese history, the Tiananmen Square massacre. It began as a public mourning for former Chinese leader Hu Yaobang, but how did it escalate into a massive social movement so quickly? What deep social issues fueled this protest? What political power struggles were unfolding behind the scenes? Why did the Chinese army turn its weapons on its own people with such brutality? From a Chinese perspective, we will explore the reasons behind the protest, the unfolding of events, and the profound impact this tragedy had on Chinese society and the world. Thank you to everyone who donated after my last video. Your belief in what I do keeps me motivated every day. If my videos resonate with you, please consider donating. Even a few dollars can make a big difference. My goal is to share uncensored stories about China, with access to reliable Chinese sources and a deep understanding of Chinese society. I offer unique insights. However, creating content isn't easy. Each video takes over 50 hours of work, and I'm struggling to cover basic expenses. I can't do this without you. Your support keeps this channel alive. Thanks for watching. See you soon.